I understand people have their bad days, but every day you have that one person. Just like I say, a lot of business I've seen is you got to ask yourself this question. It's not just the people; it starts with the leader. That could be a motivation tactic as well. So those things are very important. I mean, especially when it comes to the leadership. Oh, that's another important thing, and I will tell you, that's why some of these businesses do fail because. So our last podcast, we kind of talked about business. So today we're going to talk about what destroys businesses. We talked about, like I mentioned last time, it's people that sometimes are the biggest obstacles when we're dealing with business altogether. I could say a lot of business that I've seen is attitude. I think the attitude is a make or break situation when it comes to your people. You want to make sure you have the best people on the front lines, the people that come to work, that's motivated. You don't have to always jumpstart them or, more and kind of, I understand people have their bad days, but, every day you have that one person just never in a good mood. Unfortunately, that can really destroy your business because, we dealing with guests or customers. They can feel that energy. That body language speaks a hell of a wow versus, than not, So I always try to tell my teams, make sure you have a good attitude. When you walk through that threshold, when you come into the door, whatever you're dealing with coming in, guess what's going to be there when you leave. But, as leaders, we try to encourage, and I always say we got to encourage the people that work for us. But again, it's a two-way street. So it's important that they are very, very engaged. Something else that destroys business, I will tell you, is gossiping. Just gossiping about whatever, just anything that has nothing to do with work. I know that's something you can't control all the time, but it all starts in the hiring process. You got to hire the right person. You got to let them know what your vision is, what your expectation is, and there's got to be some accountability. So, but sometimes that gossiping, that one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch. So also, I mean, hiring process is going to be crucial. We always like to get it right the first time, but I know all of us as leaders, entrepreneurs, whatever you're doing, it's not always easy, is to get that diamond in the rough. But as, strategic leaders, the very, that eye for talent, that person has that keen eye as a leader. I tell you, it's all about development. It's about developing how you pour into the people that you do hire. And sometimes I always say, when I'm in some of my meetings, I always say, you know what? You got to ask yourself this question. Do I have the right person, or do I have a person that's not on the right seat? So, sometimes you can have the right person, but they might not be in the right position. So you got to figure that out. And you got to kind of coach them up to making that decision where, is that someone that just don't need to be a part of my organization, my business, my company, or is that just somebody I just need to pour a little bit more, give them a little bit more training, a little bit more direction. And then sometimes I honestly tell you, I've had some people that work for me, and, it took me sitting down, having a conversation with them, real conversation, just let them know, hey, have you ever thought or considered about doing something different in the same organization? And, initially I kind of pushed back on it, but I kind of really explained to them why. And that could be a motivation tactic as well. So you got to make sure as you look at this, I like to look at it as you're looking at it from a very high level view and kind of just seeing how your organization is running and your vision, and do I have that right person that can get me there? Sometimes that right person might not be able to get you the whole way. Maybe they can get you half the way. And then maybe someone that has a little bit more skill set can get you to the finish line. I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, as leaders, we got to also understand that it's not always about being the smartest person in the room. Um, and I think that's where a lot of times as leaders, that ego kind of gets in the way where we always want to be the smartest guy or the smartest female in the room. And, that's not always the case. I mean, everybody has a different skill set. Everybody are experts in their certain positions, but there is nothing wrong with getting people in the position that maybe you're lacking in, that they might be experts. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's a whole team effort. I mean, so you always got to kind of keep that in mind. Don't ever be, intimidated, you know, as a leader. It's all about working together and understand that everybody plays a part, and you got to be very strategic about how you build your business. But that's another important thing. And I will tell you, that's why some of these businesses do fail, because you got senior leaders that had egos, and sometimes they don't want to listen, or maybe they don't want to hear about change, or understand that maybe we need to pivot here, or kind of hear what the team is saying. I mean, you guys see it every day. I mean, some of you are leaders, some of you are not. Some of you work for a business, some of you are part of a business that you might have a good idea to try to share it with one of your leaders, and they probably shot it down. So that's not good motivation either. I mean, but as a good leader, you're going to take that time to listen, kind of listen to, maybe somebody you're working with and you didn't know that they did a certain thing. And as you talk to them, you realize that, wow, they have a certain skill set that I had no idea about. So those things are very important. I mean, especially when it comes to the leadership role. I've also seen as, and I'll stick with leaders. I mean, I've seen there's been some great leaders, and there's been some leaders that hasn't been great, but you can learn from both. You can learn from the things what to do and the things not to do. I mean, I will tell you that, also I've seen what destroys businesses is, you know, maybe hiring your friend, or hiring a neighbor's kid, or hiring someone you owe a favor, and maybe you have someone that's in your company that might have that same skill set or might be even better, but maybe they found out that there was some friendship going, and they never even had a chance to apply for the job, or maybe they did apply for the job and they never had any intention of hiring them. So, I mean, those are the politics that, you see in the workforce or in your business, and hopefully it's not in your business. But those are the things you always got to keep in mind, because people are always paying attention. And one wrong move can really destroy a great business. If the culture's not there, if you're not being fair, if you're showing favoritism, if you're not hearing the feedback, everything plays a part. If a person doesn't feel value, then it affects. These are people. These are everyday people that go to work every day. These are people that has families, kids, and there's nothing more than want to be a part of a business that someone feels appreciated. So it's not just the people. It starts with the leader. It starts with the vision. It starts with alignment, because as a leader, you are the engine that drives the train. You are the one. If you come in a bad mood, if you're not motivated, then guess what? You can't expect your team to be motivated. I mean, so it starts with you. It starts with the people you hire. It starts with your executive team, and then the people that might not be a part of the executive team, they have to feel like they're empowered. They got to feel like there's room to grow. And you got to be honest and be very transparent to some degree, but it's all about the people, and it's all about the culture. And if you don't have a culture, then that's a problem in itself, because you got to have some type of culture. Hey, well, guess what? As time is up, next time we're going to talk about culture. Kind of had to pet it off there, but something you look forward to our next meeting. We're talking about culture. We're talking about how do we manage these bad teams. I know you're going to be very interested in something that you really want to hear. some skills, some strategies I've done in the past that kind of worked for me. But as always, we want to say thanks again for coming and tuning in and seeing my podcast. I look forward to seeing you on the next time. Peace.